Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Narendra, and you're watching BBC News. In August 2024, a group of university students in Bangladesh brought down a government that had been in power for 15 years. Their weapon was not violence, it was a demand for fairness. For decades, the Bangladesh government had reserved more than half of all public sector jobs for people with family ties to the 1971 Independence War. Young graduates, no matter how qualified, were passed over simply because of who their family was. Students across the country called it deeply unjust. They organized, they marched, and they refused to leave the streets. On the 15th of August 2024, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina resigned from office and fled Bangladesh by helicopter. Within days, Nobel Peace Prize laureate Muhammad Yunus was appointed to lead an interim government. Political analysts around the world now refer to it as the first successful Gen Z revolution in modern history. The movement did not happen overnight. For weeks, students faced violent crackdowns from government-backed forces. Dozens were killed, hundreds were injured. Security forces opened fire on unarmed demonstrators in university campuses across the country. But rather than retreating, the protests only grew larger, louder. Footage of the violence captured on mobile phones and shared rapidly across social media platforms turned public opinion firmly and decisively against the government. Citizens who had previously stayed silent began joining the students on the streets. Workers, teachers, and ordinary families stood side by side with the young demonstrators. As pressure mounted from all directions, Sheikh Hasina's administration collapsed. Protesters formed her official residence in the capital, Dhaka. Student leader Nahid Islam stepped forward and publicly called the nation to support a transition government under Muhammad Yunus. The demand was accepted by the country's president. Power changed hands peacefully within hours. But the revolution did not end with the fall of the government. In February 2025, the same student activists who led the uprising formally registered a new political party, the National Citizens Party. Their platform calls for a complete rewriting of the national constitution and the establishment of what they describe as a secular republic, a Bangladesh rebuilt from the ground up on accountability, transparency, and genuine democratic form. Analysts say that the Bangladesh uprising has permanently altered the country's political landscape and stands as a defining example of how ordinary people, armed with conviction and solidarity, can change the course of their own nation. A 15-year government brought down in weeks by students who refuse to be silenced. That was the news for today. I am your host, Narendra, and I'll see you next time.